in terms of your process, how do you go about testing budget and confirming those construction costs as your designs develop, that things are actually moving in alignment with each other? How do you help clients have certainty around the deliverability of the budget in their projects?
It starts with us being just radically tracking all of our historical data. And so although architects are adjacent to data such as construction costs and vendor pricing and some subcontractor markups, it really does take some work for our office to extract that information from our construction general contracting partners so that we have that data to use for our future projects. And so I'd say the first thing is just we have to handle that wealth of data well so that we can actually leverage it for the future projects. So that means that when a project of a similar size or scope or complexity or similar geographic area, we can pull from recent historical information to start to build, I would say, not a precise budget, but a budget spectrum about what it could be. So that's the first step. The second step is we have strong relationships with builders who want the opportunity to bid our jobs, and they're willing at the early design phase to then take that spectrum of a budget and refine it a little bit more with their own separate data. So they're using a different approach, and if our approach, their approach overlay, and there's a high degree of overlap rather than separation, then we all have the peace of mind that we're heading in the right direction. Of course, when we complete the design and it is competitively bid or negotiated with the builder, there's always adjustments to be made. And so we like to have our bids be intelligent to the point where not all things are equal, but we already have pre-assigned locations where we say, okay, if there's room, we want to turn this area up in terms of quality. And if we're at a budget price that we cannot handle, these are the 5 assigned areas that we know we can flexibly pull down on. So we just try not to get caught off guard. Changes always happen. And as the economy lifts and lowers and construction demand lifts and lowers, there's always a degree of variability to that. So we also attempt to set our clients' expectations in a realistic way. It's so appropriate to budget for contingency to help close the gap where appropriate. And so I don't know if there's like so many things, there's not one answer, but it's really like multiple spokes that try to make the budget conversation one that's helpful and not just a headache.
Yeah. And I think that's that thing of how important it is that you're collating data from recent experience. I know I've got colleagues here who are prolific in their work like you guys are, and so are able to access data from a range of projects that then gives them very, I suppose, detailed understanding of their impact on square footage rates and what that might mean. And also that conversation, they always meet with their contractor afterwards and say, look, did you make money on this? Where would you have changed things? Where would we have streamlined things, so that feedback loop's happening as well. And I think
that's
too,
awesome.
as you create a practice where you're working with a select number of contractors as well, and you're perhaps having those negotiated processes into construction, then that feedback loop of conversation just really ends up serving the client really well. So I think it is, as a homeowner, I think for you to look for designers who, if they're giving you cost advice, that you actually interrogate where is that cost advice coming from, because the construction costs just move at such a pace, and as a designer it's very difficult to keep track of that. So I think that the process that you've illustrated is a really good way for a client to have confidence around it. And also, as you say, the contingency becomes very important as well. So that was great. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Hi, now before you go, I just wanted to share with you, there are 3 big mistakes that I see homeowners make when they're planning their renovation or building project. Mistakes that cause huge amounts of stress, cost overruns, time blowouts, and really ultimately make the journey of renovating and building much more difficult. Want to know what they are? Well, the first of those three mistakes is that people just dive into the process. They don't really prepare for it. They don't really understand what are the right steps to take and when, and they just barrel in. And I think homeowners do this because it's a big, overwhelming process building or renovating your home. It involves a lot of big decisions, a lot of money. But unfortunately, if you're only ever taking steps ahead, not really knowing the full picture, it's very easy to get lost, misled, end up in a completely the wrong spot, and for it to be very expensive and time consuming to get yourself out of that position. The second mistake that I see homeowners make is they make themselves a target. A lot of homeowners tell me actually they feel like they're walking around with a target on their forehead just waiting to be taken advantage of. But unfortunately, a lot of homeowners don't do the work required to really inform themselves so that they know how to sift and filter the advice that they're receiving, so that they know how to not fall for the dodgy operators, and so that they know when they're being told something that they want to hear rather than what they need to hear. When you know how to put the right team of people around you and you know how to trust the advice that you're receiving, it will completely change the game for your renovation or building journey. The third mistake that I see homeowners make is that they don't invest in the design. The design, of course, is the lines, the spaces, the volumes that are drawn as lines on a page, but end up becoming the rooms and the home that you ultimately live in. And so many homeowners really struggle because they know that this is something going to be long term, that their decisions are going to have a big impact on how they get to live their lives, and yet really fear stuffing it up, making decisions that they think that they'll regret long term. When you know how to get the design right, how to create a home that not only works for you now but into the future, then you can move with certainty towards that future finished home, knowing that it'll actually deliver the dream that you're hoping it will and create a beautiful lifestyle for you and your family. I would love you to check out my 2 online courses. I have one for Australian homeowners called How to Get It Right in Your Reno or New Home, and I have one for American homeowners called the Welcome Home course. If you don't know the steps from start to finish of your renovation or building journey, from the point of talking with your local authority through putting your team together, getting the design right, getting all of your approvals, choosing your contractor or builder and getting your home built, that's exactly what these courses will help you do. I lay out step by step my own system that I've been using in over 250 projects in over almost 25 years in this industry, and I explain it to you in a step-by-step way that you can put into action on your project. I also help you really focus on what are the core fundamentals of a well-designed home. What does it look like to achieve good design? I have got minimum recommendations for dimensions. I've got some key things to help really pull out of you what it's going to be that you want from your home, so that you can really communicate that with the people that you're working with and get really clear on what's going to make a big difference for you and your family's lifestyle in your home. And I also have lots of tools and guides so that you can pull the right team together. You can sift and filter the advice that you're receiving. You can know that you're moving in the right direction. You can always be working to save money and time and stress, and you can really get bang for buck in how you spend your budget overall, so that you can make sure that you stretch that money that you have as far as it possibly can go. And ultimately, these courses are all about helping you create that future family home that you're dreaming of, that is perfect for you and your family, and that ultimately helps you feel great and that you feel great in. So again, for Australian homeowners, it's How to Get It Right in Your Reno or New Home. And for American homeowners, I teamed up with Eric Reinholdt of 30 by 40 Design Workshop. He's an award-winning American architect based in Maine, and we created the Welcome Home course. The links are below for you to check out both of these courses. I would love to see you on the inside and really help you create that future family home that you're dreaming of and get it right whilst you save time, money and stress.